Hi everyone, I'm Jim Rizoli and this is the weekly show. Well, hi everyone. Let's talk about some things that have been happening this week. Well, today actually was the meeting at St. Tarcisius Church with the Micro people and pretty much the Brazilian community, and the police department came down to give a special presentation, PowerPoint presentation there about gangs. And I was looking forward to this, because I like to see what's going on in the town. So we went down there, and, it was amazing that we got in there without getting kicked out, but more about that in a second. So we were there, and there had to be at least 6 or 7 police people there. Chief Carr was there, Deputy, Ferguson was there, Lieutenant Chastity was there, and several other police officers were there. Okay, so they had a good representation, which shows that the police department in Framingham, one thing you can say about them, they are trying their best to work with the Brazilian community. So, they put on a really good PowerPoint presentation that dealt with the gang situation, and I actually learned a lot from this. I didn't realize that there are 3 or 4 different types of gangs that are present in Framingham. I also learned that the Brazilians have their own little gang themselves that have a good amount of people in it. So, this is something that, I already knew this, but to see it, them presenting it like it is. And just showing, basically the audience, why people get into gangs and this and that. It wasn't a really long PowerPoint presentation, but it was very informative. And, Ken Ferguson was the one that put it on, and was really good. And then there were questions asked to the police later on. But anyway, what actually happened here was quite interesting, because when we first got there, the MICA representative there, he didn't want us to videotape. And we said, well, what do you mean we can't videotape here? You have all the news crews here videotaping. I said, you can't discriminate against who can videotape here. This is a public meeting. If you allow the channel news crews here, I said, we're doing a show for our cable. This isn't right. This is discrimination. So, he allowed us, obviously. Well, actually, the police. He went to the police. He went up to the police and said, what's going on here? We don't want these people videotaping. And, Chief Carl and Ken Ferguson must have said to him, well, there's nothing you can do. You're allowing the other fellas to videotape. So anyway, we were allowed to videotape, and that was good. Now, as the conversation, as the PowerPoint presentation was presented, and a couple of people, actually there was some other people that got up and talked about what was happening in Marlborough, what they're doing in regards to gang situation and crime. See, the big problem with the Brazilians are there's a lot of things happening to them crime-wise that's happening by their own people. So a lot of them don't report crimes because they fear that they're going to be deported if they report the crimes. And so basically the police were trying to say to them that, no, this isn't going to happen. You have rights here, and if someone's doing something to you, you have a perfect right to report it. So they assured them, that there is no fear, that, you can say anything you want. And in Marlborough, they have a tips hotline that if you call up, you can actually leave a message there, and they will actually get back to you. In Framingham now is a little different story. In Framingham, they actually have a live person who was actually been hired by the police department to talk to people in Spanish and Portuguese. I think her name was Anjo, was it? I forgot I thought that was her name. But anyway, so she was hired, and people can call up the police. The Brazilians can call up and talk to her if they can't speak English. So both of the towns, Marlborough and Framingham, are doing their best to really deal with the situation of any criminal activities. Now, it seems to be that the most problems that we're talking about here, we're talking about real criminal activities that are being perpetrated. We're talking about people that are trying to hurt people now. Crime, those type of crimes, stealing, and things that are murders and things like that. So that's what we're dealing with here. So that was pretty much the whole context of this whole meeting like that. But the meeting was a bit about gangs, and that's always obviously part of this situation also. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you to a clip, because what happened here at this meeting here, sadly to say, Father Pranzo, who obviously is the priest of the Catholic Church there, St. Tarcisius, he saw us there in the front row sitting, and like always, we're just minding our own business. He comes up to my brother Joe. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to show you what happened here, okay? We're going to take you to that clip right now.
All the names of those arrested for gay
You don't take pictures in here. Otherwise you get out the door like the last time. You don't take pictures.
Will you do this?
He just assaulted me.
Could you repeat the question? Is it number one or number two?
Actually, my number two.
Well, this isn't the first time we had a problem with Father Pranzo, because if you know, a few months ago, when they were having the political meeting there at St. Tarcisius again, we went to that meeting, same group of people, and we didn't even have a chance to stay there. They actually kicked us out of that meeting. Very disturbing situation, because we weren't bothering anybody. Let's take you to that clip and show you what happened at that time.
Why don't you want to see it?
I don't want you here.
Don't leave now. You're going to be arrested.
Okay.
Thank you. Last and final warning. Listen. Say one more word. If they don't go, they're under arrest. Right?
All right.
Off the property, gentlemen.
Well, as you can see, that situation there wasn't a pleasant situation for us. There was no reason to kick us out of that meeting. We weren't bothering anybody. But what really was bothersome is Father Pranzo has some issues with us, obviously. And at this meeting here, you're gonna really particularly notice what he said to us, how incriminating this is. Okay, because this shows intent of him. Notice what he said in this brief encounter with us here at that meeting at St. Tarcisius for the second time.
You don't take pictures in here. Otherwise you get out the door like the last time. You don't take pictures.
Well, there you can see, Father Pranzo actually admitted, right here, he actually said, I'm doing the same thing to you that I did at that other meeting. And if the police weren't there, if the police were not at this meeting, first of all, we probably wouldn't have been able to get in. Second of all, we would have been escorted out of there, or we probably would have had the same thing happen. They would have called the police on us, and we would have probably been arrested, or they would have tried to arrest us, okay? So really, folks, I mean, Father Pranzo really has some issues with us, but guess what? We're forgiving people. We hope that Father Pranzo, well, we're actually going to give him a penance, okay? We're going to tell him, all right, we're not going to bother with him. We're not going to press charges against him at this point in time. So we want him to do his penance and say 3 Our Fathers and 3 Hail Marys, and we will forgive him of his sins against us, all right? So that's what we're going to do. We're forgiving people, and, we just think that he has an issue, he has some problems, and he really's got to practice what he preaches as a priest. But again, I understand that, he's trying to protect these people, but on the other hand, he's not being balanced in how he's dealing with us, because we are not there to harm these people, all right, at all. Now, in this meeting, I actually wanted to ask a question. And this was kind of comical, too, because the person who was directing the questions at this meeting, he did not want to call on me, all right? And what happened was the police, Chief Carl and Ken Ferguson, saw that he wasn't calling on me. Okay, we're going to take you and show you that clip right now.
Just remember, this is an agenda about violence, okay?
Why not? I can't hold my own.
No, this is my
I have a question for Raphael.
All right, so I actually asked the question, and here's the question that I asked Raphael, one of the speakers who talked from Marlborough, and here's the question I asked him.
He mentioned that a lot of the Brazilians are being targeted by crimes, and my question is, well, who are targeting the Brazilians?
We know there is bad elements in our community, and we want to take these bad elements out. We have a beautiful country, we have a beautiful culture, and because of some people, some bad elements in our community, makes the whole community look bad. And we kind of share some of the goals that you have. Take those bad people out of here. Same goals that the Framingham police have. Take the drug dealer, take the ones that's trying to do prostitution. Let's send these people out of here. America's a beautiful country, and we are here because we believe on that. And we want to stay here. We want to be recognized by the American culture, and only by taking the bad elements out of our community that we can be recognized. Thank you.
Well, as you can see, my question was a legitimate question, because what people don't understand is that a lot of the crimes being perpetrated against the Brazilian community is being perpetrated against them by their own people. Even Raphael admitted that. So they're being preyed upon, by their own people, and that's really preyed upon by their own people, and that's a very, very sad situation. And that shouldn't happen to anybody. So, they want to go after the criminal element here, the people that are doing these things, and we don't blame them, okay? Now, then the meeting ended and everything was great, other than some of the little incidents we did have. And again, we're forgiving. We're not going to hold that against them. But we think that, the dialogue between the Brazilian community is a good thing. But as we went into some of the questions, other questions later, we're going to show you a question here that came up that had to do with the Brazilians in driving. How is the driving situation with them, or how should we deal with them in the driving? But we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back to that question here. And the question is, how did the police respond to that question when they asked about them driving without licenses? Let's take a quick break. Well, the fellow's going to come up. We're going to show you. He's going to come up. He's going to ask Chief Kyle a question about driving. Let's take a look at that clip right now.
The question that I have is, you mentioned that we're afraid. I mean, many people here are afraid because we live through this. I mean, in our country, probably it's daily life. But I know that's unlawful to drive without a license. But my question is there any tolerance for, let's say, a teenager, who's recently become legally to drive? And I know that many parents here are out of status, and they can't take their kids to work. And how that, I know that's unlawful to drive without a license, but is there any tolerance if someone is driving with an international license, or how does that work?
We go by Massachusetts law. If you have a Mass license, you can drive. If you have a license issued in another state, you can drive. And if you have a license from another country and an active passport and visa, and you're here within the time frame, you can drive. If you don't have a license, you can't drive, and you could be subject to anything from a citation, which you have to appear before a judge, to arrest. And what determines the difference between arrest and citation usually is how busy we are. If we're very, very busy, we issue the citation, we tow your car, and we do not arrest you. You still go before the court for the charge of no license. And we do that because we're a large community, we're very busy, and an arrest takes approximately an hour, regardless of what the crime is, and we have to weigh what's going on in the community at the time you make a stop. So many times we issue a citation, and you appear before the court, and if it's quiet, you're probably going to be arrested. Officers use the discretion, although we're supposed to arrest if we can, and that's what we do. That's what police officers do. We arrest them for committing crimes. Thank you.
Now, I thought Chief Kyle did a masterful job of answering this person's question on the driving situation, because sometimes I think the Brazilians want to hear the police say, oh, no, it's okay for you to drive, whatever circumstances come up. Oh, no, you can do it. No, Chief Kyle, he just told them like it is. It's against the law to drive without a license, and there's only two things that can happen to you. You're either going to get ticketed or you're going to get arrested. Now, I thought this was interesting in that conversation, and the fact is, that the police are really, really good to these Brazilians, because if they're not being arrested, then they're giving them a ticket, which actually is kind of like, just a slap on the wrist in a sense, because they have to go to court and answer for that ticket. Of course, we know that most of them don't show up in court again. But the reason why it's this way is because there are so many people in Framingham, the Brazilians that are driving without licenses. The Framingham police could be doing this 24 hours a day, and they wouldn't have any time to do anything else. So obviously, things in the town take priority over these crazy, stupid little tickets. So the police will give them a ticket instead of arresting them, because, like Chief Carl says, it takes an hour or 2 hours to arrest somebody when you bring them in and all this, and it takes two people or a couple people to deal with them, and the resources are really, really being, spent out on that. Whereas if you give them a ticket and you let them go, they tow the car at times, and that's fine. So I think what you have to understand is, and the Brazilians have to understand is, they're really getting away with a slap on the wrist here. Because if the town had the resources to deal with the illegal aliens and their driving habits, they would all be in jail. Okay? I mean, they really would be. And, the fact that they are allowed to drive without their licenses because they haven't been caught, I mean, that's really an undeserved kindness of the Framingham police in the town of Framingham, which, I don't agree with that going on there. But again, I can understand the priorities that the police do set within the town, because they just can't be babysitting these people all the time with their driving situation. Now, the problem is here is if someone does get killed, which could happen, a person in a car gets killed by a Brazilian driving, he doesn't have a license, then you're going to see the heat put on these people. So, hopefully that doesn't happen, but at some point in time, with just the sheer volume of these people driving, it has to happen at some point in time. So, anyway, we'll see what happens there. All right, we're going to take you to a clip now to show you the crime victims of illegal aliens, because, again, this isn't an innocent situation here. People are dying every day because of illegal immigration in this country. We're going to take you to that clip right now.
Say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows, only time.
Well, what we're going to show you next in a video clip is actually a Channel 5 bit they did on the illegals and driving and their habits and what's going on with them. So we're going to take you to that clip to show you how serious the situation is.
Next time you get on the road, beware. Thousands of Bay State drivers don't have a license, even though their cars are perfectly legal. It's a growing concern for police and a potential safety risk for all of us. Here's tonight's Team 5 investigation.
No license, no passport, no green card.
This is becoming a common scene across Massachusetts. A driver from another country stopped for a routine violation.
¿Tú tienes una licencia? No.
But police say this man, like thousands of others on our roads, is driving without a license.
Plates are active, a 91 Honda. There's the X number.
As he drives through Saugus, Officer Jim Scott says people who skirt the law raise significant safety concerns.
Do they have driver's ed? Have they had an eye exam? That sort of thing. Have they had a driver's test?
Scott has also started a collection of fake licenses from immigrants he's pulled over. He's not alone. In Barnstable, police noticed so many fake international licenses, they began a crackdown in February. There may be one explanation for this growing problem. Team 5 Investigates has learned immigrants don't need a mass license in order to register a vehicle here.
There's a side of this that concerns me about Homeland Defense issue. It's so easy to register a vehicle en masse. Does this open the door for a terrorist incident?
The registry confirms there are nearly 170,000 so-called X numbers in the state. That's the designation for a car registered to an unlicensed individual. Keep in mind that may include a grandmother without a license registering a car for her grandson. But others say there's clear evidence some immigrants are circumventing state driving laws. Now the push is on for lawmakers to close this loophole and require all who register cars here to have a valid Massachusetts license. Some immigrant advocacy groups are fighting the effort.
Regardless of whether or not they can register a car, they're going to drive. And that's the issue here. So I think a more realistic and a more pragmatic and a solution that solves a public safety issue is allowing all immigrants to get a license and to be insured.
Can anyone tell which is the real Brazilian driver's license and which is the fake?
As the loophole is debated, police statewide are learning how to spot fakes. The Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission has taken the unusual step of adding a session about fake Brazilian licenses to their seminars. That's because officers are encountering them so frequently. Team 5 Investigates got exclusive access to a police training session in Westwood. Officers learned they can check out a license just by logging on to the internet.
The Brazilian Registry of Motor Vehicles is open to the public, so you can type in a license number and you can check to see if that license is valid or not. You guys know any hologram that says authentic, it's garbage, right?
We're trying to stay ahead of the curve, stay out in front of the problem.
And the RMV tells Team 5 lawyers are now working to tighten up the registration system in Massachusetts.
Well, we summed up pretty good there in those videos what's happening with the illegal aliens driving and how a lot of people are being affected by the criminal activity of the illegals too. So again, not so innocent crimes are being happening here. A lot of people are dying. And I didn't mention this there, but 25 people a day die at the hands of illegal aliens. 12 a day die because of driving, people being killed in accidents, and another 12 a day are being killed in homicides and these type of things. So not a pleasant situation. And you know, the thing is the illegals have to understand something here, that they try to minimize them being here in this country, okay, like there's no problem with them being here. And I'm going to talk about an article now that's going to show you that even with them being here as innocent as house cleaners and yard rakers and painters, it's really not that innocent, okay? Because things are happening, okay, in the news that's showing that this isn't right. Now, in today's paper, Saturday, December 6, 2008, the article headlines, Border Security Official Charged. All right, here it is right here. Border Security Official at charge. Very disturbing article. It says here, the official in charge of keeping Massachusetts ports of entry free of illegal immigration and drug smuggling was arrested yesterday on charges that she repeatedly hired undocumented immigrants to clean her Salem condominium. Unfreaking believable, isn't it? Lorraine Henderson, the Boston area port director of the Customs and Border Protection Division of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, was arrested at 8 a.m. after an 8-month undercover investigation during which a cleaner wore a wire. So one of her own cleaners, I guess they tapped into them to wear a wire. But here's what happened here as the article goes on. Now remember, she is over 190 armed officers. She's the one that's over them, and she's the one that is supposed to be keeping our ports, keeping our towns of Massachusetts free of illegal immigration and illegal aliens. All right? Now, as the article goes on, U.S. Attorney Michael Sullivan said in a statement that it was unconscionable for any Customs and Border Protection employee to violate the same immigration laws that they are charged with upholding. Unbelievably hypocritical, isn't it? And then it goes on to say that she was released on $25,000 unsecured bond, and she was going to be going to court pretty soon about this. And I believe it says here, if convicted, Henderson faces as much as 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Imagine that. Now, what happened was, she gets these illegals to clean her house, and then she recommended to another agent that actually she worked with that she has these illegal cleaners cleaning her house. So that agent hired those people to clean her house, but what happened was the ICE department said, make sure you do not hire any of these people in anything that you need done on your homes. And so this other person had a conscience, and this person fired the illegal alien that worked for him, that worked for her too, I believe, or whatever. So anyway, now this Lorraine Henderson, instead of Lorraine Henderson saying, oh boy, I better stop hiring this person, she bragged about it. She did not fire the person. She continued to keep this person cleaning her house. So, I mean, this was just a blatant disregard for the law and what happened here. And so anyway, she's in big trouble now, and this woman here is probably, good go to jail for this, and we're going to have to see. But the point is here, and I'm tying this in with the illegal immigrant community here, because even though we're more concerned with the criminal element of the illegal aliens, here's the United States government cracking down on somebody for hiring an illegal cleaner to clean their houses. And how many people even watching this program right now have Brazilians illegally here in the country cleaning your yards, cleaning your houses, or painting for you, or doing any type of yard work or whatever? They're working in the restaurants. We know this. I mean, this is just unbelievable to see that we will allow this to happen. But I'm going to tell you a quick story, even in regards to myself. Before I got into all this illegal immigration stuff, I had, some work done in my yard, and there were illegal aliens working in my yard, and I admit that. But you know something? Once I started getting into the illegal immigration stuff, I said, nope, that's it. I'm done. I'm not hiring illegal aliens to work in anything in my house anymore. All right? So, what are you going to do? I mean, I didn't have them working on my yards anymore. All right? And I could have had a lot of work done by illegal aliens, but I didn't do it because I had a conscience. Because, what's happening is every little bit that you do to encourage them to be here, you're actually breaking the law. And, at some point in time, it can come back to kick you in the ass because, I mentioned this in the last show, especially dealing with insurance and things of that sort. If an illegal alien gets hurt on your property, they have the ability to sue you now, and they can, you could be living out the street and they could be living in your house. And don't think that this doesn't happen. I mean, this is unbelievable what could happen here. So you really have to think about, I have these nice little Brazilian girls cleaning my houses, and, it's not that simple anymore, is it? Because the United States government is cracking down on the illegal aliens working here. And you might just think it's, no big deal. But it is a big deal because this woman here, Lorraine Henderson, who works for ICE, she is going to be in big trouble for hiring these people herself. So what I don't understand is the town of Framingham, we tell them that half the stores or more than half the stores are illegal in downtown Framingham. They're being operated by illegal aliens.
Pranzo's church is
And most of St. Tarcisius, most of the people in the church are illegal aliens, and we know that. But nothing's happening to them because the federal government's not too concerned about the house cleaners, except in the case of Lorraine Henderson. It's funny how when an American is involved as high on the totem pole as she was, then they come after him, So basically, most of the people are let go. Nothing happens to them. But it is a problem. The United States government does not agree that hiring illegal aliens is a good thing. And so for when these people meet, and they try to think that they can just wish this away like there's no problem with having all these illegal aliens around here. It's not true. This is something that is a problem that the government wants to do something about. It's just the sheer volume of the illegal aliens here is what makes the problem not being dealt with, or you might not think being dealt with, in a real fast way. But again, things are happening. This case in the Boston Globe about Lorraine Henderson shows that.
For your next vacation, experience Mexico the way our people experience your country.
Are we there yet, Dad?
Almost, kids. Keep paddling.
Sneak across the border to Mexico, and we'll cater to your every need.
Hola, amigos. I don't understand. Anyway, we're here for the free medical care. Oh, and the doctors will need to speak English because we're too lazy to learn Spanish.
You need a doctor?
Yeah, I'm pregnant again with twins.
And if they're born here, they're automatically Mexican citizens.
Then we can all become citizens.
Yay! They speak English in Mexican schools, right, Dad?
Well, they better.
This summer, make Mexico your very own.
Kids, once I get my forged Mexican driver's license, we can buy a crappy Mexican car.
Can we slap an American flag bumper sticker on it?
You're darn tootin'. We don't want to lose our identity.
Mexico, we cannot make you leave.
I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some articles that were in the news this week. And I thought I'd get right to what happened at the Selectmen's meeting the other night. If any of you are watching, there was a appointment of the new fire chief, and I thought I'd give some comments about this because it seems like some people, are not happy with this. Some people are happy with this, and I just kind of give my own observations here. Pretty much at that meeting, as I observed watching the Selectmen's meeting, even at the start of that meeting, we had a couple of selectmen that weren't happy with the procedure because Julian Suzu pretty much came to his own conclusions in who to appoint as fire chief. And they did have several people from the Framingham, fire department who actually were in the running, and they didn't make it for some reason. And Julian decided on this fellow Gary Doherty, I believe, from Hopkinton. Now, I'm not saying that he's not qualified. He's probably more than qualified to do the job, and that's fine. But I think my issues, along with Mr. Giombetti and Mr. Sosiski even Jason Smith, they felt that the procedure, there should have been more input here. Okay, there should have been more discussed about it. I was very surprised they made a decision just on what was presented to them there, pretty much just accepting Julian Suzo's recommendation. Now, I think that anytime you have a department head like that, a fire chief, which is a very important position, I think that people should be appointed through the system. People that come up through the fire department should be appointed because this gives them an incentive to actually do their jobs and even do good jobs. Really being more alert, more in tune with things going on, and really wanting to look at that as something to go for later on, as years go on in the department. So I kind of felt that, someone should have been appointed through the department. But the thing is, I didn't see a big amount of complaints from the firemen themselves or input from the fire people themselves. I thought that at that meeting, at the selectmen's meeting, you'd get some of the firemen saying something. But then again, you can understand probably why they didn't want to say anything, because think about it, if they're going to appoint this Mr. Doherty there as fire chief, and then they got to work under him, and he knows that they spoke out against him, then we have an issue. So really, when you think about it, it really didn't give the firemen a real honest opportunity to speak out, because if they did speak out, it would have been, or could have been used against them in the future for their own jobs. So, I don't know, it's just kind of a strange situation we had here. But the selectmen, pretty much at the end, even though they had some complaints and some disagreements, they went along with the appointment of Mr. Doherty, and he's going to be the new fire chief. So I think what's bothersome in some degree is he has no idea of the town. He has no idea where things are in the town. Maybe he doesn't have to know. Maybe, he's going to have people driving him to all these places. But I just know if that I was working in a town, it's like being a cab driver and, going to a town, you don't know the streets, you don't know the buildings, you don't know the people, you don't know anything about the town. And this is what's going to be happening now. But hopefully the fellows in the fire department are going to help him out and, maybe go along with him and encourage him along. So he's going to be an administrative type of guy and maybe not hands-on in the field. So we'll have to see, what happens there. But anyway, that's what happened at the selectmen's meeting the other night. In regards to the new fire chief, we welcome him here, and we hope he does well and hope everything works out for him here. Okay, another thing that happened at that selectmen's meeting that was really bothersome to me, okay? At the end of the meeting, they had, people coming up. There was one fellow who wanted to extend his time of opening his restaurant. And this fellow owns a restaurant where the old Aegean used to be. Okay, everybody know where that is? The old Aegean there on Contituate Road, Route 9, right in back of Kentucky Fried Chicken. There's an Aegean restaurant. It used to be there. It was taken over by this fella, Brazilian fella, and it's a Brazilian restaurant now. So what he wanted to do is he wanted to extend the hours, I think to 1 o'clock in the morning, I believe, maybe even longer, but on Friday night I think it was. Now, another thing he wanted to bring in pool tables. Okay, so this created quite a stir among the selectmen now, because Mr. Giambetti, rightly so, was saying, well, what are you? Are you a restaurant or are you a bar? And this fellow, you can tell, it's like, well, we're both. Well, here's the problem that I foresee if the selectmen now go along with allowing restaurants to start to put pool tables in their premises. You have to understand, back in Brazil, that's what they do, okay? Their restaurants are bars, restaurants, whatever, okay? That's what they are, okay? They're drinking holes. They want to bring this culture up here, and this is the start, I believe, is what's going to happen here. They allow this fella to do that. Then what's going to happen is all the other Brazilian restaurants are going to probably say, we want pool tables, we want vending machines, we want this in their establishments there. And what's going to happen now is you're going to turn Framingham into third world country even more so, because now these restaurants are going to be bars and pool tables, and just a type of thing that we don't want in Framingham. Really, I'm just being honest with you. We don't need these type of things in Framingham. All right, we have enough of restaurants that have those things. Why do we need more? And what's happened, the reason this is happening is because, I don't know if you've been following this one, but I believe it was in Allston or in the Boston area. There was a Brazilian restaurant there that used to be frequently, visited by a lot of the Brazilian people in all over, actually, from all over. And it burned down. So now they're probably, short on where to go for, hanging out. And of course, they do a lot of this stuff at night. They're not like Americans sometimes, go to bed at 10 o'clock type of people. They want to stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because they work all day. Brazilians are hard workers, you know how it is. And they want to party hard. So now these places in Framingham, the Brazilian restaurants in Framingham, and there's plenty of them, they want to stay open after 1 and have the liquor license after 1, because this is the watering holes for all these illegal aliens that come into the town, and this is exactly what you don't want to happen in Framingham. You don't want Framingham to be turned into watering holes for the illegal aliens, because they're going to be drinking late at night, they're going to be driving late at night, and they're going to be on the roads, and they're going to be killing people late at night by their driving habits because they like the drink. Okay? Sorry, folks, that's the way it is. Okay? And then when you read the paper, the Metro West News, you'll see all the people that are being pulled over for these, driving under the influence. And again, who are these people? All right? They don't have licenses. They're drinking too much. And we, the town, are allowing these people to survive if we just give these restaurants the ability to stay open till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, have pool tables, have all these gaming things in their restaurants, and they're just going to make these places that we just don't want here, okay? It's simple as that. So if this is the type of town that you want, fine. I just think Framingham is being turned into a third world country, and the Brazilians know that that's the case, and that's why they're going before the selectmen wanting all these things, because they're trying to bring the other illegal aliens into this town so they can have a good time. And you remember the last place that was the real good place for them was the where the Red Pepper restaurant is now. It was called the Ipanema. Okay, and the Ipanema was a big hangout for the illegal aliens. Okay, they had a good time there. Everybody went there and had a good time drinking up a storm. But of course, they were caught for selling liquor to minors and all these type of things, and they lost their liquor license. And then the Red Pepper comes in there now, and they're an established restaurant. But what I found out a couple weeks ago about the Red Pepper is now the Red Pepper is going to be catering to the Brazilian crowd there too, because they have a new menu that's Brazilian food on their menu. And now, Brazilian food could be great food. That I have no problem with that. But it's the clientele of people that are going to be attracted to that restaurant. So believe you me, okay? And I'll predict this. If the Red Pepper restaurant wants to stay in business for a while, they might want to think about their position in making their restaurant open to all the illegal aliens in the area, because it's going to come and bite them in the ass. I'll guarantee it. It will bite them in the ass just like it bit the owners of the Ipanema restaurant, because they lost their liquor permit because of the fact that they have these people coming in there, crazy people drinking and driving and everything else going on. So that's what's going to happen to them. I'll guarantee it if they continue on in that direction. So we'll just have to monitor that situation to see what happens there. Okay, so that's my spin on the restaurant situation in the town of Framingham. I really feel that the town of Framingham really better start thinking about their policies in regards to restaurants. I don't know if you noticed this on the south side, next to the Hollis Street gas station, the Sunoco station, the Brazil restaurant is out of business now or whatever. It's closed. I don't see it open, because they had some issues there, didn't they? That used to be the hangout for all the illegal aliens, and now it's closed. So what do we have in common with illegal aliens and restaurants? This. If there's illegal aliens visiting those restaurants, you can bet that restaurant is going to be out of business pretty soon. So, fine, if you want to give them all these licenses, have them open till 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to have people dying, you're going to have the restaurant serving liquor to underage people, you're going to have a lot of issues here, and if the town thinks this is a great thing, fine, because you're going to really make this town even worse than it is. All right, so you're going to regret it. It's going to bite you in the ass. Okay, another place where we're getting bitten in the ass, okay, in the Metro West News, buildings and fires had severe issues. Okay. What happened, this was about a fire in Marlborough, and Hudson had a fire too. But we're still having a problem with buildings that have illegal aliens in them that are filled to the gills and they're burning down. Okay? I told you this years ago what was going to happen to Framingham. Everything I said came true. All right? I said that Framingham is going to be a place where all the illegal aliens are going to come, pack the houses out, and the houses are going to start to burn down. If you look at a lot of fires that have happened, okay, over the period of years, you're going to trace it down. What do they have in common? A lot of these houses, the majority of them, were establishments where illegal aliens lived. Okay? Bottom line, you don't like to hear it, too bad, that's the way it is. And I know when I was on the commission there to deal with the overcrowding issue, the overcrowding committee that I was appointed to, it was myself, another town meeting member, the building commissioner, and a bunch of other town people. I told them in the beginning when we started that commission that Framingham had a severe problem with illegal aliens, overcrowding, and all this stuff. All right? And I told them what was going to happen too. And in the beginning, they didn't listen to me. They didn't listen. They thought I was just a racist, I was prejudiced, I didn't like Brazilians, and all this type of BS, okay? Fine. Well, what happened? We had the Avon Street fire. And there you go. That was the beginning of it now, okay? And since then, we've had several other fires, okay? So there you have it. What I said was true. Right now, we're still having fires. This is in Marlborough now. We're still having fires in these towns. Landlords could face fines for code violations and illegal apartments. Hey, it's going on all over the place. We're supposed to, in Framingham, have people assigned to the building department that are supposed to be out there looking for all these violators and violations and trying to keep the town in good shape here. And sometimes I question what's going on there, you know, because these guys are working at night, and I would like to see a log of what the heck they're doing. You know what I mean? But again, you know, they're out there supposedly to be doing this, and, you know, we'll see how it goes with their departments there. So we still have issues with the apartments, illegal aliens. Even though they're leaving, though, there's a tremendous amount of the illegals are leaving. And here's why they're leaving. Because the economy has tanked out pretty much, so it's not a good thing for them. The government is cracking down on who's working in the businesses. We definitely know that, because I'm looking at some of these places like Burger King and you know, even McDonald's in some cases, even though I still have questions about McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts. It seems like you know, more Americans are starting to work at these establishments, these food establishments, and that's a good thing. Because see, they're checking the Social Security numbers of these people now, E-Verify and all this, and you know, these guys have to, you know, conform to having legal Social Security numbers and this and that. So it's making it harder and harder for illegal aliens to work, you know, in legitimate establishments like Dunkin' Donuts and places of this. So, you know, we're going to have to see what happens. Now, segueing into another article here, there's an article in the paper here, downtown shop owners getting help. This is a mind blower, folks. This is a mind blower. The majority of the businesses downtown Framingham are either owned or they have illegal aliens working there. We know this. No one cares, okay? So when you look across the country, the federal government is cracking down on businesses that hire illegals, and we see it happening. It's happening all over the place. It just so happens it hasn't happened in Framingham yet, okay, for some reason. I don't understand why, because we have plenty of them. So now they want to basically help these Brazilian businesses, and I just mentioned that the majority of them either or are illegal or hire illegals, which is against the law. To hire an illegal alien in this country is a $10,000 fine for each occurrence. No one seems to care because nothing's happening in Framingham, so they continue to do it. But the fact is that they're going to have a meeting, and the speaker is coming in from Worcester. Her name is the speaker will be Alit Falokowski. I don't know. It's a school teacher who speaks native Brazilian, I guess. And he's going to talk. Is it he or she? I don't even know here. But anyway, they're going to talk about the needs in downtown Framingham and ways to attract new clients, prepare short-term business plans, and create business groups. Now, the event is sponsored by a Brazilian organization here, and you know what they want to do? Listen to this. This is a beauty. They want a campaign to amend the Brazilian Constitution to allow Brazilians abroad to elect a legislator to represent them. Are we really seeing what's happening here? They want to have some representation from Brazil here to represent the illegal aliens that most of them are here. Yeah, I mean, this is just mind-boggling. I can't believe that this would even happen. Okay, now, Pablo Maia, who runs the real estate business in downtown Framingham, he heads the committee, all right, and they are going to discuss ways to help them. And Pablo says, well, everybody is struggling. Nobody knows what's going to happen with the economy. We're trying to organize and educate ourselves to survive. Well, here's a good way to educate yourselves. The seminar is going to be December 13th from noon to 5 in downtown Framingham, all right? And guess what? The admission is $30. So these Brazilians are going to have to pay $30 to go to this seminar. Can you imagine?
Say where it is.
Where is it? I don't even know where the heck it is.
Say where it is.
I don't even know where it is, to be honest with you. Just says downtown Framingham. So it must be a secret so people like us don't know where it is. But can you imagine? They are going to charge these people $30 to attend this meeting. $30 to attend a meeting and talk about, business stuff in downtown Framingham. When basically what should happen is they should have that meeting and they should just go in and arrest them all and deport them. That's what they should do, really, when you think about it. So now, if any of you are concerned, here's the telephone number. Call 508-728-8275. Okay? And you can talk to this person here and find out all about that meeting, about the downtown owners, Brazilian owners who want to get help for their businesses. Okay? Remember, that number is 508-728-8275. And maybe you can give them a piece of your mind saying, we don't want any more Brazilian businesses. And to be honest with you, we'd be happy if you just all packed up and left, and let's get on with our lives and try to get Framingham revitalized again and get all the crime out of there and get all the crap that's happening down there, because Framingham is just an armpit when you look at what's happening in downtown. I mean, it is just an armpit. The stores are closed because a lot of the Brazilians just upped and left, which I told you that was going to happen, some time ago. I said, you wait when the economy tanks. I said this a couple of years ago. You wait when the economy tanks out, these people are going to leave you high and dry. And that's exactly what they're doing. And at the arcade building, that place there, look at all the businesses that are left there, because they don't care. I mean, what are you going to do? The economy is bad and they want to leave. They leave. And this is what happens. Now, people blame it on us because, we're bringing attention to the fact that the majority of these people are illegal aliens, the fact that they shouldn't be working here in the first place. The only way you can work in the United States is you have to have the proper work visas, and the majority of these people do not have work visas issued by their government or our government. So why are they working here? Well, guess what? They're breaking the law. Our selectmen don't seem to care. They go up before the selectmen, apply for permits, they apply for opening store, whatever. They don't ask him any questions. They don't ask him, like, who are you? The guy can hardly speak English, and they're saying, you think they'd say, excuse me, sir, who are you? Where are you from? How long have you been in the country? Do you have the proper work permits to work in this country? I mean, are you even legal? I mean, what's going on? They don't ask him anything. So think about it. Anybody can come into Framingham, open up a business, okay? You can have, the Al-Qaeda come in from, over there in Saudi Arabia and all those type of places. They can open up a business here. They can launder money. They can sell drugs. They can do whatever they want. And the selectmen just gave them the go because no one's going to question them. No one's going to question them. And this is exactly what's happening. These businesses here, particularly in downtown Framingham, you don't think there's something fishy going on with these businesses? Why do we have so many jewelry stores? Why do we have so many, stores that sell clothes that summer clothes in the wintertime? Who is going to buy summer clothes in the wintertime? They get bathing suits. What is wrong with these stores, people? I mean, there's something wrong here. An older woman called me up a couple of weeks ago, and she just was disgusted because she said, there are no stores downtown for us to shop in. Who's going to go and buy that crap that they sell? I mean, come on. So I kind of look at these stores. Is there something going on here? Are these stores just fronts for drug money? Are they fronts for laundering money? I think something's going on here. Something's going on, along with the automobile places that they own too. I really look at these as fronts for laundering money also. So this is what Framingham has become, okay? One big ball of corruption, okay? You got drugs, you got laundering of drug money, you got all these things going on, you got gang problems, but everything's great. There's no problems. There's no problems in Framingham, right? Everything's great. I don't know. I don't understand it. All right, now I don't know if any of you people are religious people out there and go to church every week, but you know, going to church is a fun thing, especially when you have entertaining pastors. Now, one thing about Framingham is kind of unique because there's probably, you know, over 50, this is what I'm told, over 50 Brazilian churches in Framingham. Now, again, a church could be 5 people, 10 people work, they can be meeting in a house, but I heard there's over 50 Brazilian churches in Framingham. So if you've never been to a Brazilian church, you might get a kick out of this. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how a Brazilian church operates. Now, I'm not saying all of them operate this way, but how this Brazilian pastor gives his sermon, and then we're going to show you how it's done in America by an American pastor and the difference, okay? And you're going to tell us, you know, as you watch this, which sermon would you like to be sitting in, okay? All right, so let's go to the first. We call him the nutty pastor, Brazilian pastor, who you know, really likes to use his voice to encourage the crowd. Let's go to that one first.
You may not know this, but I'm a real fan of the Bible, especially the New Testament. I really appreciate the words of Jesus when he talked to his apostles, how calm, how cool, how collective he was. But for some reason, I don't think this man here, who's from one of the 58 Brazilian churches in Framingham, is that cool, calm, and collective. Would you agree with me?
Porque tem gente que vai morrer pobre, amém, igreja? Tem gente que vai morrer com câncer. Tem servo de Deus nesse momento que aceitou Jesus na prisão e vai morrer lá dentro preso. Tem servo de Deus que nunca vai saber o que é uma casa própria, nunca vai dirigir um Hummer, nunca vai ser patrão na vida, vai ser empregado. Mas uma coisa eu sei, quando a trombeta tocar, eu te digo para onde eu vou, eu te digo a minha casa, eu te digo que eu vou ser.
I don't know about you, but I think that guy was a real nutcase. I don't think I'll be going to his church. I'll stick to the Bible and Jesus' words.
Okay, well, that was the crazy pastor giving his sermon. Well, now we're going to show you a more subdued American, in fact, the patriot pastor, who is this individual, and he's going to be present to you how it's done by the patriot pastor. So let's go to his video.
We had some radical homosexuals who were picketing outside, and I was dressed in my patriot pastor costume. They followed me down the street, yelling at me and so forth and so on, and I just prayed in the Spirit, and I smiled, and they were saying things like, hatred is not a family value. I said, I agree with you. Hatred's not a family value. What did I say that's hateful? I'm just quoting from the Bible, and the Bible is not hateful. God's word is not hateful. People need to understand that.
Okay, now, there's a decision to make right now, folks. Which church would you rather be in, okay? The not-so-Brazilian church with the crazy guy there, or maybe with Pastor Lear, who's a nice, calm type of guy, and he speaks, you know, nice and calm and tells you how it is right there. Now, you have to make the decision. Of course, you might not like the subject matter that the patriot pastor speaks of, and we're going to kind of like segue into another subject matter here, because he was kind of touching on it a little bit in his, you know, speech there. And this has to do with the radical homosexual people in California. You know, everybody's, you know, all concerned about how homosexuals are treated, you know, by people. And, you know, if you say anything bad about them, everybody gets upset. Well, we're going to take you to a video that really should bother you, because here's a video of, in